somebody who could endure a 2-hour football match will collapse at a rally. But fake news was already on its way. So the first point I wish to make here is that fake news did not come with social media. Fake news has been there, and it will outlive social media unless men and women of goodwill occupy the media space. There were also allegations making the rounds at the time that I went to bed as early as 7 p.m. and therefore I was not suited and would be unable to do the work of governor if I was elected. This was in spite of the fact that as chief of staff, I got to work at 8 a.m. and I left work at 1 a.m. the following day, except on Fridays when I closed around 11:30. But no media house was willing to grant me an audience to state my own side of the story. I later found out, as I said, it was well planned. He mustn't emerge, shut him out, if possible, write the news the other way. But one correspondent granted me an interview. He walked into my campaign office in Surulere and said he wanted to come and schedule an interview. And I said, why can't we just do it now? And he was taken by surprise that he had spoken to the other candidates and they booked in advance and they asked him to submit questions. I said, let's do it now, I'm free. So we did the interview. And we were waiting for his program, which came on a particular day of the week. It was a video interview. He did show first week, second week, third week. So my media advisor went to him and he said, sorry, that he made a mistake. He didn't clear with his media employers before he came to us. And that his oga has watched that interview and said, no, if you play this interview, this man will win. So it was never played till today. So this was how I met Seye Kehinde. He sought me out to hear my own side of all these allegations against me and my plans for office in the event that I succeeded. So what was remarkable about this and why am I telling this story? It is because that instead of joining the crowd, Seye Kehinde and city people chose to find out what the facts were. They became the first magazine, the first print to publish me. They were the first people to publish me in print. So they chose not to follow the crowd. I remain indebted and I remain in debt of you and your outfit. I'm truly glad to be here. As I said, not in repaying, but also just as an expression of my gratitude. So for those who think you are not my kind of people, you are my real person. In addition, I think that apart from what I have said, the measure of the man himself and his values can be gleaned from the topic of the lecture, which is, quote, why I remain optimistic about Nigeria. And this was chosen by Seye himself. And I asked, how many people dedicate their birthdays to the optimistic pursuit of the cause of their country? As I said before I started speaking, how many people are sweating and running around on their birthdays? Only Seye Kehinde, my kind of person. So when he asked me to speak and I agreed, he gave me the liberty to choose the subject. And in hindsight, I should have taken that option and chosen a much easier topic. But when I insisted that he chose Nigeria. And here I come with measured concern about the subject he has chosen. Some experience turbulence because what I intend to say. Some experience from a place of pure conviction. So of course, if we took a survey today about whether we should remain optimistic about Nigeria or not, I can only hazard that opinions will be diverse. But mind you, I am speaking about Nigeria, and I will come back to the matter. And I'm not speaking about Nigeria's politics, and I'm not speaking about Nigeria's economy. I'm just speaking about the entity called Nigeria.